So
I think we're gonna have to do it on your computer, which is fine, I should just.
So, my name is Betty. I'm here with the Gene Therapy Initiative. I am the Director of Operations there. And it's a newer initiative on campus. And I've been here for 20 years at UCSD and serving faculty with all their wonderful projects. But we talked about these being secrets, and I want to help you not be secret anymore and connect you with as many people as I can. So I really want to support your mission and find out how we can work collaboratively. Obviously, we're focused on gene therapy, but how can we funnel people and work with you and our initiative, to really support them, give them all the resources from all different angles.
Yeah. I mean, I can speak for myself, happy to connect with you, and I think we should. I can share all of the pathways for the NSFI boards for MedTech Accelerator. And then I know Julia would also be a strong opportunity as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, both in terms of starting companies directly, and we do have a lot of faculty who I like to call it want to quarterback startups. They still want to be a professor. And so in our program, we help matchmake for finding that, that CEO that can help take that idea to market.
And we're affiliated with pediatrics, so also making sure to help get that message out to our folks in pediatrics as well.
Right.
okay, now we're back to Jen, with Dr. Debbie Spector.
Okay, so I'm really going to bring you back to the beginning. And that is when we have the opportunity to get two different disciplines and individuals from two different disciplines to have ideas and to get together to work and try to make their idea into something that could potentially be commercialized. So this is the Galvanizing Engineering in Medicine program. And it is a partnership between the CTRI and the Institute of Engineering in Medicine. And effectively what we do is we promote collaboration between engineers and physicians to develop innovative technologies that can be applied to solving challenging problems in medical care. The awards are very small, 30K. Some say when you have a small amount, sometimes you accomplish even more. From 2014, we have now funded 41 projects that were phase 1. And we have funded 4 GEM continuation projects that really were showing a lot of promise. And if we just gave them a little bit more, we could perhaps push them to the next level. Okay, outcomes. We have a 12x return on our investment. Our PIs are affiliated with 28 different UCSD departments in engineering and in the health science. I stopped counting patents that were filed. We have 13 startup companies now from 41 projects funded. And what has been most important is it really has catalyzed new collaborations between our engineers, clinical faculty, and industry. Okay, so let me just give you an example of 5 projects that we funded this past July. And you'll see the diversity of the types of projects that we have. First, an arthroscopic 3D bioprinter for minimally invasive rotator cuff tear repair. Development of steerable liquid crystal elastomer-based catheters for neuroendovascular applications. Deep learning bronchoscopy with significantly improved image quality, engineering a novel pessary vaginal support device for pelvic organ prolapse. And development of an optical module for monitoring sensory fiber degeneration in the evaluation of peripheral neuropathies and neurotrophic keratopathy. Okay, so I'm going to give you now some of the examples. Project funded in July 2016. Tom Subbies in gastroenterology and Frank Talke in engineering. A 3D printed disposable colonoscope for giving you infection-free, contamination-free colonoscopies. One of the benefits of GEM we saw at the beginning of COVID, because we said, let's use the model we have for COVID of getting engineers and clinicians together, and we put out a call for them to get together for solving problems in COVID, either diagnosis or treatment. And It was a very fast turnaround program. We funded 8 projects, and these projects had to be projects that they could accomplish their goals within 2 to 3 months. These are the projects that we funded. This vacuum exhausted isolation locker veil to facilitate treatment of respiratory compromise, and I'm going to show you this in a minute. Wearables, disposable wearables, so you can track vitals of COVID-19, particularly the ICU. So the nurse or the physician did not have to constantly be going into the room in the ICU for the COVID patient. Okay. Biomaterials for treating the COVID lung and systemic inflammation. Telehealth robots, so that you could improve both the physician care as well as patient well-being, putting them in contact with their families. An arrhythmia assessment, which was a real problem in the beginning days of COVID-19. And most importantly, the last one, a personalized mental wellness platform for clinicians. And this was very important because of the burnout that we were seeing in the individuals who were caring for these patients. So let me just show you the examples. This is the veil technology, Tim Morris and James Friend. And what it allowed is it allowed patients to receive forced oxygen without being intubated. And the reason that this isolation locker was so important is the reason they could not use this was because of aerosols and the potential of contaminating the outside and the personnel. With this, though, type of locker, you could now do forced oxygen without intubation and not have exposure to healthcare workers. And this was put into practice in UCSD within 3 months. So this was in the summer of 2020. Another, Shang Zhu, one of our really brilliant engineers, he has developed these wearable wireless sensors and used it for remote monitoring of COVID-19 patients, capturing 5 vital signs. And this was one of 5 ideas out of 500 that the National Academy of Engineers actually selected that should be presented further to experts. So now I want to tell you a little bit about our success story. First one, this is a project to a Series A funded company. The project was the development of a non-invasive quantitative tool to detect and localize human ventricular fibrillation mechanisms. The PIs were Andrew McCullough from bioengineering and David Crummon from cardiovascular medicine. Okay. At this point in July 2015, these were people who had not come together. They had the ideas, they had discussed it, but really had not come together. In 2017, they founded the startup Vector Medical and began to develop what was called the VMAP technology, which used non-invasive, advanced AI-based, which we heard before, algorithms, in order to decipher the information coming from 12 lead ECGs that allowed physicians to localize both the focal and fibrillation type arrhythmias. 2021, they received, that's why I asked the question about the 510K FDA clearance. And in February of 2022, UCSD was the first hospital system actually to offer the VMAP. This past month, actually last week, they secured $16 million in Series A funding, co-led by Solus Bioventures and TBM Captive Life Sciences. This is the type of thing we want to catalyze in bringing together these engineer, physician teams, and then hopefully, again, through the help of Brady and IGE, which puts them into their accelerator programs, of really helping them get to the commercialization. Now, I want to tell you the second one. This is one that really showed a return on investment. Karen Chrisman, a bioengineer, Mariana Alperin, a obstetrician gynecologist. Again, they had never worked together, got together in July 2016 to use this extracellular matrix hydrogels that Karen had developed in order to prevent and reverse these pelvic soft tissue degenerations, which is a serious problem in women, particularly if they've had multiple births. Okay, so this group working together now have had 7 years of collaboration. They first started very small, R21 grant, but they now have 2 very large R1s to pursue this, as well as a fellowship grant. And they have shared 4 graduate students and have received actually multiple awards now for their work. So what do our awardees tell us about this program? Again, this is small, this is the beginning, we're getting them together, trying to get them to speak to each other and use each other's intellect and ideas. So finds the opportunity, get out of the silos. And most importantly, it provides the critical seed funding that allows them to develop the technology and hopefully to obtain the further funding so that it can lead to the commercialization. And the other, I think, is most important, and that is the training of the next generation of engineering students who know how to speak to clinicians, and of young physicians who begin to think about talking to the engineers and how to solve the problems they're seeing in healthcare. I know it's late, so I'll just end here. If anyone has any questions, please I would love for you to write your check today. We certainly will use it. We have some very, very good teams and startups that just need a little bit of extra help to get them to the next stage.
So let's open the floor for some questions for all of our panelists. So the mic is going to go around. If you have any questions? Yes.
So what's your application to acceptance ratio? Is it 150 to 1?
No. We are more, because it's a very small amount that we can offer, and in general, we're offering 3 to 4 awards a year. So we get usually from 12 to 15 applications. Before we present them to our review panel, we usually get it down to only 8. And then we present it to review panels who have other people from industry and representatives, both from the health system as well as from engineering, to help evaluate them.
At what stage should the idea be before one can apply for this type of funding? Should one already have an engineering and medicine side collaboration?
It's both. Okay, we encourage individuals who may have an engineering idea. Contact us. We'll find you a healthcare partner to work with. Likewise, we've been trying to encourage the health science side. You have an idea or you have a problem, you think, let us know. And we will search for an engineering partner for you. So it can be either way. We can have them, and we encourage them through the year to please contact us, let us know if you want to be partnered up, as well as to have them doing the application together.
I stole the mic. So, hi, I'm actually one of the teams that was a prior GYM grant recipient, and we're still very active in doing the startup formation. I'm pretty sure I've bothered everyone up here on the stage already. But I was wondering, what are some of the prerequisites for the continuation funds? Because we're very interested, and we're definitely in the process of incorporating our startup. The IP is almost done.
Terrific. So this is Andrew McCulloch. who directs the IEM, and I've had lots of discussions about trying to get to what we call a phase 2 GEM for precisely what you're speaking about. And our problem is limits of funding. I mean, we just don't have the source of funding we could fund one large project. But again, where we just really need more funding coming in order to, and anyone who has ideas of how we could possibly interest, the biotechnology community here who might want to invest, we will find partners for you. If you have a problem that you're interested in solving, we're very anxious to work with the community.
Boris?
Yeah, a very selfish question here. This is seemingly partnering clinicians with engineers. What about preclinical researchers with engineers?
Absolutely. So we require that the PIs be a faculty member, that it be a clinical faculty member and a engineer faculty member. The reality is, it's the fellows who are doing the work and the graduate students who are doing the work. But they do not do the application. We do encourage, some have come to us, say, talk to a faculty member, put in the application for your idea.
I think his question is if they're not a clinician, but more of a biomedical researcher.
Yeah. We try to make sure that we have a partner in the healthcare system. Okay. We have talked about it, getting the preclinical, and we've had applications actually that are very much at the preclinical stage where they're looking to do either models, tabletop models, or some even using animals as the preclinical. And those we have supported some of those.
Cool.
My question would be almost the third point of the triangle of this. So if you bring an engineer and you bring a clinician, there's also the health system, right? You have this sort of 12-month window. I think every idea that I have that would apply for this would also require the hospital to have buy-in and allow me to actually do it. So are you speaking with hospital management, sort of fast-tracking these innovations? They happen in and around the clinical setting, but aren't necessarily directly sort of involving patients. It's not like human subject research, I guess, what I'm saying.
I'm not quite sure what you're referring to.
So, the first thing that popped in my head was around sort of actually the talks around microbiomes and mapping that within the hospital for patients, right? There might be an engineer who developed, let's say, lab.id and the diagnostic tool that I need. Clinically, it's really relevant to me if you want to map sort of C. diff, infectious diseases, but the hospital is going to need to approve us being in the hospital capturing samples of any sort, even if it's not the door handle. So the hospital can sometimes be the breaking point here, right? Whether they approve it. So I'm wondering if you're in discussions with the health system to enable actual in healthcare setting research to happen in development.
So that's really a very good question because it was particularly during the COVID. They were very responsive to having whatever was being done put into the hospital. I mean, we had no difficulty whatsoever in having them. So we do collaborate though with the ACTRI, which has the Device Accelerator Center there, and also the links that they have with patient populations and potentially, of course, all of this, it does require the IRB approval. You must have the IRB approval. But that has not been a restriction point for us.
And I would say for ITE, we've had several teams where we've been able to facilitate a good connection with them, with the VA, for example, and the hospital. So, I mean, I think all of us up here all have those relationships. And well, we may not have a direct line to that. We are happy to make connections for you. And Sam Ward at ACTRI is very connected. So he's a great resource.
Well, I'll add one piece of that, especially since we deal with the later side. I think it's a great question for any entrepreneur in the room to ask themselves whether they want to take this startup and run with it, because this is the time where you have to actually decide, are you going to go through a program where you keep your job and you're quarterbacking that startup, or do you want to throw on the CEO or the CMO shroud and go all the way, right? Because no VC will invest in you as a C-level operator in a company unless you're all in.
Yeah.
So it's a really good thing to think about at the early stages in terms of what you're willing to give up for, the Hollywood, have that big.
But I think our programs really help tease that out. I mean, Limber, you guys may have heard of Limber recently in the news. We've had the last 2 San Diego Angel Conference winners. Carrie Health was the first one, Limber, which is 3D printed prosthetic. And they started off with one of the co-founders as the CEO, and through the program and their growth, they realized that wasn't the right fit. So that person has now become the CTO, and Joshua Pauls grew into this amazing CEO, so well-spoken, so poised. And, it's kind of awkward in the beginning, but like that's part of the programs that we offer to help you grow into realizing what's the right person for the right job.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, thank you everybody for joining us for the last 2 days. I want to recognize a few people here, our faculty colleagues, Charlie Preetham, Stephanie Allen, the EIR, Natasha and Srihari, student volunteers who've been tremendously helpful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for organizing. Yeah.
Thank you. Ready?
Yeah, Becky.
Becky, all right. Definitely want
Try to meet with Alex next.
Thank you. Let's be in touch.
It's a cute name.
Wow, they're your results. Walker, thanks again for being here.
That's the vision right now. Actually, director, like, we want to help
Oh,
other
okay.
faculty get to this foundation. And so a lot of our advice is we can have the products together. So, they were very nostalgic with us in the beginning of January about having breaks from master classes. We have industry
Yeah.
as well. So we're mapping all this out.
Okay.
So definitely need to connect with you guys. We don't want to do this. We want to,
That's how it's going to be. So I think it's really has to wish for creativeness. I think that so many of us think the same thing. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Collaborate, working on.
Yes, it is, right.
Silos, the kind of like that is
and for us, especially as pediatrics, it's always a great thing to be, the other side of the physicians, have ideas and things, but really our more side, than others. We really want to bridge that connection. Because we have,
And your family.
and agriculture. So, we pay attention and, so me being here for all these hang on with people and I want to connect.
I mean, right, there's benefit to that age thing.
Exactly.
We know a lot of people.
I
We know a lot of people.
that,
It's a benefit, right?
Yeah, but if I can follow up with you guys.
A little more time.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So where are you on campus?
So I am at biomedical research. Yeah, by the school pharmacy.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, exactly.
I started with pharmaceutical.
Oh
my gosh.
Literally, the School of Medicine, I was doing research, and he was like, that's gonna be the future, when SCAGs was just barely being built up.
Story.
Really?
Yes,
And so just as a little bit of background on me, so I used to be very probably Yes, I know she is. I've been in your building, I just transitioned
You want to be who? Jake, Jake, yeah, Jake, was saying, because I was like, how do we get connected on the phone? That's the.
I know all about that. And I know all the ACTR people.
Yeah,
On this, so definitely.
Yes, that's.
I love sharing, from my experience and, connecting people. That's
One more
what
thing,
you guys like to do too.
before
so
you leave, there is
absolutely.
boxes of lunch left, please do take
No, no,
it.
no.
Oh, okay.
I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
No, I'm Becky. Hi. Are you on campus?
No, I.
In what capacity are you working with startups?
One, I'm partnerships, business development, fundraising.
Yes.
Strategy.
Okay.
One is diagnosis. I have two right now. One's diagnosis, the other is cancer therapeutics. Trying to raise angel funding for one, and find the right partners.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit further.
Yeah,
have a card?
So you grew up here, huh?
I did, yeah.
I did sort of.
But
Actually,
Well, I mean, I wasn't sure on
yeah,
that.
JV football recently too. My
My
son's
son's
my
great.
kids all go there. So. Yeah, so it's funny when I do these things with Fish, because then when I'm on the football field, I'm usually talking with the head coach.
I will. I will definitely
My
connect
son's
with you.
Julio, J5, we call him.
Great.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to
Yeah.
have you come and maybe sit in on one of our sessions.
Let's see, we
Maybe
usually
on
have
our
our home
business
lab,
development
so
session
that's where
with
basis.
our
That's
upcoming
where I
accelerator.
raised my first two kids.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, it's like, you can sit and observe, and like, if just as an audience member, and like, hype up,
Oh, I
if
see,
you have,
so we're.
a comment to make or something.
Reach
Yeah,
out and-
I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, yeah.
No, I got really excited with how you wrote this. On the side, I work with the science and.
Of course.
And I just. Like you said. And so I was invited.
I know, I mean, we just need to like pull us all together.
A little bit more, but
We need to
then-
pull together.
Yeah. What do you call it? Program.
I've got some ideas, but I mean, Vish, Charlie, wow, I mean, this was really great. Really great. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, this is exactly what we, yeah, I appreciate it. Who do you want to talk to today?
Oh, everyone.
Yeah, I tell them.
Looks like we're live as well. so
Oh,
you're gonna-
oh, hello.
No, how do we, seriously,
You always wait like. So, possible like you do you.
Yeah, perfect. So we've got our Utopia program here in town next week, but still send it to me, and that way I can get something coordinated.
On that,
Yeah, I know, it might be a little heavy, just we've got 2 waves of teams coming in next week. So, yeah, but, are you around on Tuesday? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna follow up with you on, I definitely, yeah, I'm gonna follow up.
Yeah, because like, I've been thinking about it.
There's, yeah, but, I know I'm there, I have a program in my person watching you, so, yeah. We'll talk, we'll definitely talk, and Michael is gone through this week anyway, so it might be better to circle him in to the meet as well. Your son is like telling me. It was like glaring in my eye, it's like that perfect little spot where I just look.
It was over there earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we do like the next generation.
Sitting back all laid back in the pool. Oh.
For something that it would engage.
Introduce myself.
I actually have someone to connect with. Give me your latest card. What's the best email you get? This one or online? We're on LinkedIn.
Well, you never
Chat.
Really? No, I do.
All right, well, but I'll connect you with the gal that used to run a bunch of educational science stuff. You just need,
I've been on all these sites.
So it's a long way.
yeah, I mean, I can, yeah, I mean, so it wouldn't be like a company because we're doing venture skill business, but I do tours, like I'm doing a tour in March with like the kids from the free school and the Claremont colleges usually come to. So, yeah, let me connect you with her and maybe you guys can find some good things.
It is a fun one, but
Yeah, I'll think about it. And
I worked with her before and got close with
Okay.
it's there, but we're, it's not local yet.
Hey, what's up, John?
Great. I actually found out about that labs like almost ago.
Well, yeah, so he is her, quality director, right? So, yeah.
Hey, what do you want?
I'm working on like technology stuff, like the back.
The AIM program, right? It's just, I'm trying to remember. This is the one where it's like realistic skin and all that, right?
Yeah.
Where I was like, yeah, you should go talk to like ventures.
Just doing it
There's a
here.
lot of direct consumer applications.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Is Mikhail, is Milan Mikhail from bioengineering? Is he involved in that by chance?
He is involved in it.
Okay, because he was telling me about that.
One of our,
So I think I might be indirectly helping. Like, he told me about it, and I'm like, that's cool, yeah. But now that you confirmed that that's on the AIM path. So where you get that? Where's what stage? So you haven't incorporated that. Okay, but you got some funding.
yeah, we're trying to get the funding right now. We are going to apply for the NSMI program.
Okay.
So ready for speaking.
So you doing that with Becky or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done everything.
Thanks so much. And you look amazing. That was the first time I met him. I was like, entrepreneurial family.
Still on.
Try it out. And then I, a couple of.
Oh, this is